Everyone, welcome back to Cheddar Shakers. Black Momma Brands is expanding, and the CEO, Vanessa Braxton, raised $2.1 million without any venture capital. That's like a new album with no features, to launch Black Momma Tea and Cafe this year. And the next stop might just be the New York Stock Exchange. Joining us now to discuss, Vanessa Braxton, who's the CEO of Black Momma Tea and Cafe. Vanessa, great to have you here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's dive right in. Can you give our viewers who may not be familiar a rundown of Black Momma Brands?
Well, Black Momma Brands consist of really Black Momma Vodka, Black Momma Teas, and Black Momma Teas and Cafes.
Yeah.
I started Black Momma Vodka just 2 days ago, made 7 years.
Wow.
That I've had Black Momma Vodka.
Congrats.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And what I've done is I had 33,000 customers, and they all wanted to invest in something that I was doing. But I was leaving this company and my manufacturing facility for my children, for generational wealth. Because I found that there are very few women and minority women-owned companies that have any manufacturing facilities and leave anything to, for future generations. And so what I did was I utilized the Jobs Act, the 2012 Jobs Act.
Of course.
Which I think that's a great opportunity for any small business or any business that want to start as a startup to bring the crowd into investing in a company. And you don't have to be an accredited investor because of the Jobs Act.
What's the distribution? Is it direct to consumer, or have you pushed to get the products in grocery stores and other places?
Well, since I've had it, I've had direct to consumer, but I also had it in grocery stores. I was in Albertsons, I was in, Virginia states, I was in 32 states, for Black Momma Vodka. But what it has done is expanded the brand, because I make a chai tea vodka, green tea vodka. I make all these vodkas from teas and corn. So what did it do? For me, I had leftover teas. So why not just have Black Momma Tea?
What about retail? What about storefronts?
Well, storefronts, it depends. I have distributors, and you get to pick. When you're in the liquor industry, you get to pick who you want to sell to. So you sell to on-premise, which is, an off-premise. On-premise is restaurants. You have to see what works for you. And then off-premise is retails, like the supermarkets in California and all the ABC stores in the controlled states that's controlled by the government. So you have to understand your distribution network with any type of business in order to succeed and bring in the money,
Absolutely.
which you reinvest back into your company, and that's what I did.
You're a retired structural engineer. How did you get into this business? What are the common denominators that you've seen?
You know what? I'm gonna just speak about my age. I went to Pratt.
Yes, Pratt
1987.
Institute. Yes.
I started at Pratt and I graduated. That's a long time, my God. And believe it or not, I was the structural engineer or resident engineer around the corner to Broadway for the Fulton Street Transit Center.
Wow.
I was an executive for the MTA.
Which a lot of us go through every single day.
Right, so I went through, 9/11, and I rebuilt South Street Ferry Station, which you guys probably go through all the time. And so for me, I worked with the MTA and New York State government and New York City Transit Authority in engineering and construction. And I had a $350 million annual budget. So I was here involved with that, but I worked my 20 years of doing that. As an engineer, we always want to make things better, right? So I come from a background, old school, where, in college you did a couple of things, as engineers, and, you kind of make some vodka on campus,
A little side hustle or indulgence, maybe.
Right, the statutes of limitations is gone, which is in the 80s. But, at the end of the day, you can't kick me out of school now. But, you have so many resources to utilize when you're a college student. You really don't know where it may take you. And so when I retired from the MTA and we moved to California, I took the opportunity to utilize my formula. And so, you know what? I used to make this in college. Why not just take my retirement money and invest it into a distillery and create my own brand? And that's what I did.
You mentioned earlier about creating generational wealth.
Yes.
As you expand your brand now, how do you look across the leadership team, the executives that you bring on board, and ultimately frame that generational wealth, but also pick the right profiles to help you with the brand expansion?
You know what? That's a very good question. And when I look at it in terms of ownership. That's what I do. You know, for me, I learned as a manufacturer that I have to own. I own my own facilities, I own my own real estate, and I own my own distribution centers, which allowed me the flexibility to create a brand and other brands and allow for the expansion of Black Momma Teas and cafes. So when I bring people into my own facilities, they're going to follow exactly what I need, and they're going to get paid to do that. You know, so these facilities, it's not just about the brand, it's also about ownership, owning the real estate, owning the intellectual properties, owning anything that comes around with it. So that way you can pass that on into a trust for generations to come and set up your family office, which I have a family office now.
As a successful business person and investor, what are the most important lessons you've learned, or the most important elements, I guess, as a business leader today as you lead this company now into the future?
Oh, there's so many. One, never judge a book by its cover. That's so true.
Give us an example of that.
You know what? When I first started Black Momma Vodka,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people were saying, oh, you know, the name wouldn't, you know, do very well. Imagine if I'd listened to what other people said. You know, and I knew, and I stayed true to myself and to the brand, and I enjoyed doing what I did. So the lesson there is, when you judge a book by its cover, you never know what it may lead to. Because I'm Black, I'm the mama, I make the vodka. But there's so many other things. When people see that you're true to your brand and true to your business, they want to invest in you, just like how I invest in other companies. Because if you're not true to your brand and true to your core of what you want to do, then nobody's going to invest and nobody's going to believe in your brand, and that's kicked out the window.
$2.1 million, how do you distribute that across the brand, the organization that you
Well, the 2.1 million is only for Black Momma Teas and cafes.
Got it.
Because that's the company I plan to bring right here to the New York Stock Exchange
There you go.
list in a couple of years, you know, utilizing the new rules, and bring it to the New York Stock Exchange American, because I want to be a small cap like how Amazon was. You know, not a unicorn. I want long-term growth for my investors because I want liquidity for them just as well. Go back to what we used to do back in the day. So that 2.1 million, it's already being built into the location, which will be opening in probably like the summer, because we're almost done with construction. Plus we've acquired real estate. I've acquired real estate in Detroit, in Indiana, in Alabama, so the company can have distribution centers. You know, so we want Black Momma Teas and cafes to have their own distribution network just as well, and invest in other businesses, because that's what we're doing just as well.
When you look at the brick and mortar space right now,
Yes.
bricks to clicks is what we're looking at, or
Oh,
clicks to
yeah.
bricks rather, I should say. And so with that, Starbucks, even some of the other major coffee houses that are out there, or coffee chains, they're looking at smaller footprints because they know a lot of their orders are with that digital customer. Has that driven your decision around the size of the footprints, the size of these stores that you would like to have?
No, it hasn't. And let me just say for the record, I started that clicks to bricks 2 years ago first, when nobody was thinking about it.
There you go.
Okay? So when I did the clicks to bricks, I took my online customers to bring it to now a community. And what I'm doing is investing in communities that people are not looking at. You know, you think about it, the communities that are being gentrified. So I'm going to a shopping center and I'm gentrifying, the area is being gentrified, I'm bringing Black Momma Teas and cafes. Yes, it's a 3,600 or 33,000 square feet area, but we have a full bar. They don't have that, you know? They have a full bar. We have a meeting space. So that way we can offer classes, and we have a partnership with Microsoft. Microsoft have their we have a partnership with Microsoft, with the one in Walt Whitman Mall, where they're gonna come in and teach classes on their products to people in the community who will sign up.
That's great.
So it's basically create an infrastructure within the community that never even existed, and it's able to bring, you know, this to areas that's going to be gentrified. And guess what? We have 303 potential franchisees that want to get in, that's sitting there and waiting. They want the same thing too. But the key is, I want them to own their own real estate. Because at the end of the day, when you own your own real estate and you have your own business within that structure, you can have generational wealth and a family office too.
Vanessa Braxton, what a story. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much.
We'll be back.
Yes.
Okay,
With our
good.
list.
Okay, you better come back here. Vanessa is the CEO of Black Momma Tea and Cafe. Thanks again.
You're welcome.